Hello, it's Thursday. And in 2 days' time, it's going to be Christmas Eve, and that means that the next day after that is actual Christmas, and I'm really excited. Are you excited? I'm excited. And if you've forgotten to make your Christmas cake this year, then don't worry, because this recipe is for an alternative Christmas cake, which is packed full of chocolate and fruit and is way more delicious than regular old Christmas cake. This cake is going to have 8 layers, and that is a lot of layers, so we better get cracking. Now I'm going to make 2 different sponges. One is a rich, moist chocolate cake, and the other is a light, melt-in-the-mouth malt cake. And I'm going to start by making the malt cake, which uses a traditional creaming method, starting with butter and sugar. And now in my bowl, I already have 250 grams of soft unsalted butter, and I'm going to add 250 grams of caster sugar to that. I'm going to beat that together for about 5 minutes on quite a high speed, and that is going to start the aeration process for this cake. Now beating it for this long is going to make it nice and pale and light, and that is going to make this cake turn out really light as well. Now, as you can see, it's gone much paler than it was when it started, and it's gone really whippy. So now it's time to add the eggs. And I've got 4 large free-range eggs. I'm going to add them one at a time, beating for about a couple of minutes in between each one. Now all my eggs are in, so it's time to get the dry ingredients mixed together. And I have 190 grams of self-raising flour, and I'm going to put that through a sieve, along with 10 grams of cocoa powder, a pinch of salt, and 40 grams of Horlicks. Now Horlicks is a malt drink powder, and it's really common here in England. Some of you have messaged me saying it was a bit hard to find. So look for, obviously, Horlicks. Look for Ovaltine as a similar drink. Milo's quite similar. Basically look online for a similar malt powdered drink. Add that to your butter, eggs and sugar mixture, and then mix it together on a slow speed, or fold it with a spoon. Once it's started to come together, you can then add your 3 tablespoons of milk. I've also added 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla here, and just mix that until it's all combined and smooth. Right, that's ready to go. So I've got 2 8-inch tins here with loose bottoms, and I've greased them really liberally with butter. So now I'm just going to divide the batter evenly between both tins. They just need to be baked now at 175 degrees Celsius for 25 to 30 minutes until a skewer comes out clean from the middle. While my multi-sponge is baking in the oven, I'm going to get on with making my chocolate sponge, and this is one of my favourite recipes, and it couldn't be easier to make. So in my bowl I have 265 grams of plain flour, 275 grams of caster sugar, 40 grams of cocoa powder, and I'm going to add 3/4 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda and 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I'm just going to give that a little mix. So I'm going to put that to one side and get on with mixing my wet ingredients together. And I've got 200 grams of buttermilk, 180 millilitres of cold coffee, 160 millilitres of vegetable oil, and 3 small eggs. Now some of you are always a bit alarmed when I add coffee to my chocolate cake, but don't worry if you don't like coffee, because this isn't going to turn it into a coffee cake, it's just going to enhance the chocolate flavour. And now all I need to do is put my dry ingredients into my wet ingredients and mix it all together. And once your batter is lump-free, it's time to put it into some tins. And I've got some more 8-inch tins which I've greased with butter. I'm going to pour that in evenly. And these ones need to be baked at 10 degrees less, so at 165 degrees C. So when your other ones come out, whack the temperature down to 165 and bake these for 25 to 30 minutes. So while my cakes are cooking, I'm going to get on with the fillings. And because it's Christmas and I don't like doing things by halves, I'm making not 1 but 2 fillings, and they're both going to be mascarpone cream fillings. I'm going to be making a chocolate one and a fruity one, and I'm going to start with the fruity one. So I'm going to make a fruit goo for that, starting with 400 grams of frozen mixed sort of winter fruits, like anything like forest fruits. And I'm going to add 50 grams of caster sugar and just cook that over a low heat for about 15 minutes. After my fruit goo had cooked down, I sieved it really well and then left it to cool, and this is what it turns out like. It's really sort of thick and jammy and really rich, and I'm going to use that in my first of the fillings. So to start with, I've got 250 grams of mascarpone cream, and that has been left at room temperature because I don't want it to be too cold when I start. And I'm adding 4 tablespoons of that lovely fruit goo. And I'm now going to sieve in 120 grams of icing sugar as well. And I'm going to beat that all together with my hand whisk. Well, that is one of the most incredible colours I've ever seen, and it's completely natural, but we're not done there yet. I've got 120 millilitres of double cream, and I'm just going to whip that to soft peaks. And now I'm just going to fold the two together. So that's one filling down, and it looks so pretty, but now we have the chocolate one to do, and that is exactly the same method, but instead of fruit goo, obviously, put in 100 grams of melted and cooled chocolate. Okay, so that's my two fillings done, and my cakes are just cooling down, so now I'm going to make some really delicious icing, and this is going to be a white chocolate Swiss meringue buttercream, and this is going to be used to cover the whole cake, and it is so delicious and silky and rich. It's the perfect thing for a really special cake, so it all begins over by the hob. Now I have a saucepan with a bit of simmering water in, and I've got a bowl with 3 large egg whites. I'm just going to put that on the top and add 225 grams of caster sugar. And over a medium heat, I'm just going to stir those until all the sugar is dissolved. Now that all the sugar's dissolved, I'm transferring it to my stand mixer, and I've got the balloon whisk attachment, and I'm going to pour that in and get it going on quite a high speed for about 10 or 15 minutes until it's completely cool. I'm back, and this has had about 15 minutes now, and the reason it's really important to get this to be cool is that now I'm going to add some soft butter, and I've got 300 grams, and it has to be really squeezably soft. If I put it in when it's not cold, then it's all just going to melt, and that's not what we want. So I'm going to get this going on a high speed and just add your butter in a little bit at a time. Okay, once all your butter's in, it's time to add the white chocolate, and I've got 225 grams which I've melted and now cooled down, and I'm just going to pour that in and mix it until it's really well combined. Right, that is all my white chocolate in, and this is just so lovely. It's really smooth and really silky, and it tastes really tasty. So I'm just going to put this to one side, clear the decks, and then we're going to get on with building this thing. Now you might notice that I've only baked 4 layers, and I promised you at the beginning that this cake was going to be 8 layers. That's okay, because I have split each one into 2, giving me 8 layers. Now you'll notice that I've already leveled the top and trimmed the sides, and if you want to see more about how to trim, level and fill a cake, then click on the link now. I'm going to start with a layer of chocolate cake. I'm going to put a nice dollop of the fruity filling and spread it out all over the cake. For a bit of extra tang, I'm just going to drizzle some of the fruit goo that I have left over on it. Next, a layer of malt sponge and a dollop of that yummy chocolate mascarpone filling. Now keep repeating that until you get to the top. Now I'm just going to tidy up the edges and give this whole thing a crumb coat and put it in the fridge. Giving it a crumb coat is really going to lock in the crumbs so that when it comes to decorating it, it's going to be nice and tidy. And if you want to see more about crumb coating, be sure to check out my videos. There's a link on the screen now. And that just needs to go in the fridge for at least half an hour. Now it's time to finish this guy off, and I'm going to cover it in that lovely Swiss meringue buttercream, and I'm going to keep it quite rough for a bit of texture to make it more snowy. And it's done. So you can just decorate this however you want to make it as Christmassy as you can. I'm going to decorate mine with little gingerbread houses that I made using my recipe from last year, and if you'd like to know the recipe for that, then click on the link. But for now, I'm just going to stick these in to create a little scene. And a little bit of crumbled meringue just for a bit of snow. So there it is, my delicious chocolatey and fruity alternative Christmas cake. This is going to make a really lovely centerpiece for your festive table. Thank you for hanging out with me on Christmas Eve. I cannot wait to see how your cake turns out, so please let me know how you get on by tagging me in Instagram using the hashtag Cupcake Jemma, Twitter as well, that'll work. Also, if you haven't liked my Facebook page already, then go and do that. And I'll be back on Saturday with another festive treat. It's going to be an exciting Yule log, so I'll see you then. Bye!